All right, cool. I think we can get started here. So today is, I believe, the fourth installment of this call, the Gnosis AI call. We get together once a month and we host teams who are building AI applications on Gnosis Chain, and we invite them to run a demo. And today we're super excited to host Peter and Evan from Gnosis AI, from Gnosis Labs. So a bit of background on what what's up with Gnosis Labs. It's basically a new initiative internally at Gnosis to formalize basically the fact that Gnosis has always been a place for innovation and experiments, and they just have a strong reputation of being known for doing that. And Gnosis Labs is a way to formalize those efforts. And right now, the primary focus of Gnosis Labs is on AI applications. And I believe Peter and Evan were brought on as LLM engineers fairly recently. And if you're into AI and crypto, then and you're on the call, then you probably are also aware that protocols like Autonomous are currently running on Gnosis Chain, and that AI agents are very active on Gnosis Chain, taking up over 50% of all safe transactions since September 1st. So Peter and Evan are going to run through a demo about AI Omen, which is super exciting, and talk about how AI agents are first-class citizens on Gnosis Chain and how they're working towards making Gnosis a showing point for Web3 and AI. So without further ado, I will hand it over to the two of them. Thanks, guys, for making the time. And yeah, super excited to have you.
Perfect. Thank you for the introduction. So I have the honor to start it out, but before we get to the demo and some more agentic stuff, we wanted to introduce ourselves and kind of start in the history, how it all started, what was the motivation, etc. So let's get to that. In Gnosis AI team, there are currently two of us, so myself and Evan. We are both working as LM engineers, as you said, and we joined only about 2 months ago. So in the January, Ivan had a 2 week head up, but still very close. We started very close, really together, and everything is just well in the beginning. But because Gnosis already had very a lot of AI stuff going on, we have well, a lot of things we can talk about. But before we get to the AI part and our prediction markets and the Omen platform, I wanted to do a quick overview of what Gnosis is today and what are the products we have today, and then kind of get to it how it swings out from the prediction markets itself. So I believe most of you or everyone will will know these products, but well, the GNO token, the Gnosis ERC20 standard token, so you can buy it, you can sell it. It's used for for all DAO approvals and everything, and for the validators or the Co protocol. So the Co protocol and then the Co swap website where we can swap the tokens, exchange them, and the Co protocol is trying to make it as fair as possible, as quick as possible, and everything around it, or the Gnosis safe, so some kind of wallet abstraction as a contract on EVM, where the benefits, in contrast to a standard wallet like MetaMask, is that well, there is some two-factor authentication and multiple standard wallets can be connected to it, and then there is stuff like you need multiple approvals in order to send the transaction. So if one of the wallets is compromised, you don't lose all the all the tokens there, or then the Gnosis base or recently shipped product, the Visa card that will spend money directly from your safe account, so very decentralized approach, a new one. Or the last but not least, the university-based income project called Circles, where the idea is that every month you will receive some tokens that are yours. So basically every person has his own kind of token, but they are universally tradable and they are supposed to have value such that you can uh, buy stuff with them as normally with XDay or anything else. So this is what do you today, and that's well known, but perhaps what's not so well known, or at least even I didn't know it initially, although I know about the Gnosis before I joined, is that in the beginning, like Gnosis 1.0, there is this white paper event from 2017 where the initial promise was to create a prediction market platform. So what's the prediction market? That's finally we are getting to it. Our platform is called AI Omen. I post the link in the Discord if you want to try it by yourself. But the idea is very simple, very nice. Let's say that you have some questions that you would like to get answer, kind of wisdom of the crowd. And in this concrete example, it was, will NVIDIA continue to manufacture gaming GPUs after the partnership between Microsoft and Intel by 29 February 2024? So there are two use cases. Either you have this question and you want to get the answer from people, or maybe you're just browsing through the market and you see some questions and you know that I know the answer for this one, or you believe you can research it and have some good educated guess based on it, and then you are able to earn the money, uh, kind of like in betting. So you can see that here this question has two possible outcomes, yes and no, because whether it will happen or it will not. So it's so-called binary market. And at the time I made this screenshot, it was a fresh question. And so the probabilities of yes versus no were 50-50. You can see that the price of buying some outcome probability is basically of buying some outcome tokens for this market is basically the probability for that outcome. So you can see that I was going to buy the outcome yes, and I wanted to invest, or not invest, but buy the outcome yes worth of 10x day. And because at the time the price of the outcome yes was 0.5 x day, I would get 15 shares out of it. Well, theoretically it should be 15 because 10 divided by 0.5, but there are some market fees, so it's a bit less than 15. But for the sake of simplicity, let's say 15. And if this market that is closing in 2 days resolved to yes, so if I was right, I would get my 15 shares that would be converted to 15x day. So I would make a profit of almost 5x day by researching on this question and placing my probable outcome on it. Of course, if someone buys no, or if I buy yes and it will be no, then then X day will be lost. And at the same time, as I bought quite a lot of tokens for 10x day, you can see that the probability would move from 0.5 to 0.79. And then if someone else after me wants to buy it, then the yes tokens will be more expensive. And so for 10x day, there would be less profit. On the other hand, there would be much more profit for the no because the probability will adjust to 0.21. And so that's the idea behind the prediction market. And the motivation here is that because we are buying the outcome tokens with real money, or with XDAY in this case, then the motivation for people should be to do their research as best as possible, or for the agents, for the AI agents, and to bet on the outcome that they really believe will happen, because otherwise there is option to lose, well, to lose the X day that you put into the market. So this is how it looks. You can check out the website itself after the presentation. And one more point on this one is that it's not just prediction market, but just some interesting fact is that there is this form of government that's called futurearchy, and I'm not sure if it's actually somewhere used, but I thought it's an interesting theoretical form that was proposed by some economists. And the idea there is to actually use these prediction markets in order to make some decisions around the country. So instead of the elected officials doing whatever they believe is best thing to do, they would just define some measurement how we will measure some well-being in the country, like anything. Similarly as in the prediction market we saw in the previous slide, and then people would buy the outcomes of this prediction market, and then the actual actions will be taken based on that. So it's an interesting theory. On Wikipedia there are more references around it, and some criticism as well, of course. But in our case, we are not creating government, we are creating only the prediction market, or just a slide in. But in the end, how it is related to the products we introduced in the beginning, in the first slide. So that in the white paper that talk about creation of prediction markets, the idea was that the GNO could be used as the token in the prediction market that would be used to bet on it, and as the exchanger. Then if we have a prediction market and people put money into it, or the X days into it, it cannot be that they will just withdraw it on their own whatever happens. So that was kind of idea behind the safe. So when money are in the prediction market, it needs to be resolved. And so majority of people need to agree on that the actual outcome of the market was closed was yes or no, and they need to vote on it, and only afterwards people can actually withdraw their profits, or perhaps they can't because they choose the bad outcome. So that's how the sale was spin off. Or the cow protocol, the idea was the order book for the prediction market. So when many people are going into the market and they are buying the outcomes, the probabilities are changing, the share price is changing because of it, and there need to be some systems that will safely and reliably take care of everything. So that's the Dutch exchange in the white paper, and that's kind of the story behind the core protocol. And then there is of course Gnosis Play and Circles, but that are new things, so that's something else, but still nice to mention. And by theory coming to the end, the ultimate goal of the white paper was to become kind of Google of customized information searching. And now in the Gnosis AI team, we are working towards that with the agents. And that's when the Ivan will take over and talk to you about the agent itself that we are working on.
Hey, thanks, Peter. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool. Yeah, sure. So, hey, I'm Evan, everybody. So Peter's kind of taken us through the background of prediction markets, why they're useful, why where the idea for them has come from, and now I'm going to kind of run through the how this idea of AI agents as participants in the prediction markets and kind of first-class citizens in prediction markets, and agents themselves kind of giving the prediction markets value and kind of making them perform well, why that's like a good idea that makes sense, why that's something we're pursuing, and kind of the steps we're taking in that direction. So Let me try. Cool. So yeah, just a primer on what we mean by AI agent. So I guess this depends who you ask. You'll have as many different definitions as people you ask. But we're kind of coming at it from the perspective of this like modern LLM based agent. So if you kind of living from an ML space, from an ML background, but have been living in a cave for the last 2 years, you might think of agents as this thing that you model that you train using reinforcement learning, maybe like that AlphaGo model that DeepMind trained to play the game Go very successfully a few years ago, where you have this agent which acts on the environment, causing the environment state to change, and it gets some reward, and it updates its kind of model internally. And that's a kind of reinforcement learning process. These days, when people talk about agents, generally what they are excited about is kind of tapping into this like general intelligence that LLMs seem to be able to provide us with, and kind of building systems from these pre-trained LLMs, and building on top of them to kind of create something that's more autonomous and more capable than kind of than what you're used to in a kind of like chat-based application like ChatGPT. So you have here are some examples of so Evo Ninja is an example of an agent that our friends at Polyrap built. That was built off the AutoGPT library. And then you have other examples of popular libraries used to build agents, CrewAI, AutoGen. So these are generally Python libraries that kind of use LLMs at the core, but kind of build on top of them to make kind of more complex and intelligent systems. So let's kind of go into a bit more detail what we mean by agent, the kind of components of it. So when we're building agents that are participating in prediction markets, what the kind of core components are. So we've mentioned the LLM is the kind of the kernel in the application, which is kind of making calls to some API most commonly, like the GPT OpenAI API, and you're kind of specifying some kind of goal in natural language relating to making prediction on a prediction market. But you might not be following a kind of single shot. Here's a question, give me an answer use case that you get when you interact with like a ChatGPT, for example, and that's where you have control logic where you can break down your goal into sub goals, manage the progress of how well you're doing in terms of achieving those sub goals, and kind of coming to some decision when you've completed the overall task. And that's something that's kind of generally abstracted away by those agent libraries that we saw on the previous slide. Additionally, you've got there are kind of limitations that an LLM has. So the training data gives it a kind of knowledge cutoff past a certain date. And so if you want to have kind of more up-to-date knowledge, then you need to be able to give your LLM access to the web. So this is what we kind of mean as tooling, as an example of a tool that you'd give your agent. So the ability to kind of make function calls or tell the user to make function calls, to give it web access. And in this case where our agents are transacting on the blockchain to be able to participate in prediction markets, then we need to give our agents ability to make calls to Web3 library functions. So let's just run through a very simple example of what an LLM call would look like in code, and then just kind of demonstrating what we just went through on that slide of how we make it more agentic. So in 3 lines of Python, you can say, call my GPT-4 model, and I want to know, will it rain in Berlin tomorrow? Give me a probability between 0 and 1. And you'll get a response like, I don't have real-time access to this information, so I can't help you out. So how do we kind of make this more agentic and get a more useful answer out of it? So here's another minimal example. in 13 lines of Python, still using the LangChain API, but this time using their kind of agent library. So you see we can specify some tools that we want to give it, in this case, ability to search the web, and then you specify kind of how you want the agent to execute the kind of pattern of calls to this LLM, and that's abstracted away in this enum here. And then when you ask it the same question, will it rain in Berlin tomorrow, you'll get this kind of more detailed or response, or more what you consider more of like an autonomous way of solving this problem, where you have a kind of sequence of calls to the LLM where it's kind of breaking down its goal, deciding it needs to make a search on the internet, making a search, passing the result, and then understanding that it's got to the answer that you're looking for, and it comes to the conclusion there's 0% chance of rain tomorrow in Berlin tomorrow. So congratulations if you live in Berlin. So that's what we kind of mean by a basic agent program. I'm now going to talk about, in our particular use case, why we think it makes sense to have agents as first-class citizens on the of the prediction market. So kind of talked about if your agent's going to be a participant on the prediction market, then it needs to have economic autonomy, and you can't have economic autonomy without having access to funds. And obviously, if you think about this kind of scaling, you're not going to have every agent having a bank account associated with it or a credit card. It makes much more sense for this to happen on the blockchain, for agents to be transacting on the blockchain as opposed to Web 2 world. Now also the prediction market example. If you think about what it means to make a good prediction, you have to be able to make a prediction about some market, you need to have depth of knowledge, just be able to understand many things about the world, and similarly, depth and breadth of knowledge. So many things about the world, and also a lot of domain knowledge in your specific on the kind of specific area of the market. So sports, current affairs, politics, that kind of thing. And also, if you want to kind of track some market over time, where there's going to be some real world events happening which affect the outcome of that market, then you need to kind of be able to keep up to date via web search tools and be able to aggregate this kind of unstructured data and kind of understand the implications of that on the market. And also, an important point we feel is that it's for it to be worthwhile for a human to participate in prediction markets, the liquidity pool available for that market has to be quite high, because if you're going to do half an hour of research to kind of come to an informed conclusion on some market, you want to be able to you want the reward to be some certain amount. You don't want to be betting when the kind of liquidity pool is only a few XDAI in size. So whereas an AI agent, the kind of the threshold for which it finds how much liquidity needs to be available for it to participate in the market is a lot lower. And we think that's kind of important for scale in prediction markets. And finally, we're building this prediction market AI Omen on Gnosis chain. Why is Gnosis chain a good place to build the prediction market over other chains? Well, if you've been paying attention to this Gnosis AI call over the previous months, then you'll see that there are lots of other projects happening on Gnosis chain which kind of complement this space. So Autonomous has a protocol for having for kind of deploying agents in a way where you can have co-ownership. Very interesting project that we're kind of collaborating with them on. Origin Trail, building a decentralized knowledge graph, which might be useful in the future for agents to kind of tap into for verified knowledge of the world. So having other applications that can be plugged into is something that makes it attractive to build on that particular chain. So yeah, kind of getting specifically onto what we're doing currently in the team and what we're kind of excited about in terms of building over the coming months. So the two pillars of what we're building is really the better agents. So this is quite an interesting problem because using LLMs to make predictions, or using LLM-based agents to make predictions, is quite an under-researched area. If you kind of look for papers on arXiv on this for this case, it's kind of fertile ground for research. So it's quite an exciting thing to be working on. There's lots of avenues to explore here. We're collaborating with Polyrap, who have done some great work on improving the quality of predictions of the agents that are already betting on Omen, and that we're doing work further in this area as well. But that's kind of hard to do without the right tooling. So we're to be able to kind of benchmark, deploy, and monitor the agent, which allows you to kind of iterate over this development of better agents. That's something that's kind of really laying the groundwork, which is what we've been doing, spending most of our time with over the last couple of months. So yeah, just on building the better agents, just on that point, the kind of quality of the prediction market, like why would anybody want to go and spend their time and put some liquidity up to post a market on AI Omen? Well, that's only worthwhile doing if the quality of predictions that you're getting is high. You want to know that you have like high quality forecasts, even though you have this kind of wisdom of the crowds effect. If the crowd is flipping a coin to choose the answer, then you're still going to get a low quality signal from the market. So you need to have good quality predictions, and it's in the interest of the agent to make cheap predictions, because the cheaper the cost of prediction, the greater the kind of profit margin if its prediction is correct. Then in terms of the tooling, so this is an interesting kind of how do you know that how do you know before you deploy your agent to some prediction market, how do you know if its predictions that it's going to make are good? Well, this is quite a hard problem to solve, because you don't know how good your predictions are until the event that you've predicted has played out, and so that's something that is hard to do kind of a priori. So we've kind of the approach we've been taking is benchmarking against established prediction markets to see how our agents kind of correlate with the wisdom of the crowds of kind of established prediction markets that we know have some level of quality in their predictions, kind of replicating those markets with our agents. And similarly, kind of then once your agent's deployed, you can kind of track how it's performing over time and see if that matches up with the kind of benchmarking of your agent that you did before deploying. So those are the kind of pieces of the puzzle that we've been working on most recently, and now we're getting to the point where we're kind of iterating more on the improving the prediction quality side of things. So that's kind of what we've been working on, where we're at really on the project, and we're kind of excited about in kind of making it more appealing for users to post markets on Omen, because of the quality of predictions that the autonomous agents are placing there. And then likewise, it's a kind of virtuous cycle where if once the markets are being once Omen's being populated with markets, then there's incentive for more agents to be deployed to the network to earn profit by making good predictions, and to create that kind of virtuous cycle. So we're kind of excited to head towards that direction, and that's really the kind of bulk of what we wanted to say. I guess, hand back to you, John. If you wanted to field any questions, we would be happy to answer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Evan and Peter, for such a great presentation, and what an exciting moment that we're at with regards to prediction markets. I mean, there's been so many attempts in crypto to really build a prediction market platform that people use, but I think for some of the reasons that you went over, that's just not been successful. Certainly, I think some of the incentives, probably the liquidity just wasn't really there for people to be incentivized enough to express their opinions or their beliefs about the near future. But with AI agents and like you said, Evan, smaller liquidity pools, which is something that I haven't even considered. It's now much more possible. And yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with prediction markets, super high level, like what's the real value of a prediction market? Well, we live in a world with increasing complexity, and with increasing complexity comes greater difficulty in the ability to manage risk. And a prediction market has the ability to, predict the near future with theoretically a high level of accuracy. So that could really help humans manage risk in a world of great complexity. So there's real impact and I think significance in building prediction market platforms like these. So yeah, super cool stuff. Yeah, are there any questions for Evan or Peter at this point? This would be a great opportunity to dig into stuff if you're curious. I have some questions, if that's all right. I don't want to talk too much, but if no one has any questions, then I'll just go for it.
Please.
So I'm not, obviously I'm a non-technical person, and I also just really don't know much about AI. So like in my mind, I'm making the assumption that like basically all AI agents theoretically have access to the same information, right? So like how can AI agents compete with each other in a prediction market context if they all have the same set of information? Or am I wrong? Is it that like bots are trained on different sets of data so that they're not all um, playing on the same kind of field or whatever?
I'll take this one, Peter.
Sure.
Yeah, I suppose there are a couple aspects to that question. Yeah, so I guess you've got two sides to it. One is what knowledge has the model been trained on? In other words, what knowledge is compressed into the weights of that model, and then what extra abilities does that agent have based on the design of the agent itself over just the model that it's calling. So I guess you can. There's GPT-4, which is what kind of most applications that are trying to build good quality agents, what they're using. But we're seeing kind of all the time now that there are very good competitors that are that I guess and they are kind of delivering pre-trained models which are kind of competitive with GPT-4 and lots of benchmarks, which may have different training sets and may kind of perform better in particular areas. But I guess there's also the opportunity for users to fine-tune their own models, like so taking some open weight models and to train to specialize in a particular area, say like an economics agent, which like some user has a corpus of economics textbooks that they want to fine tune their model on and make it particular, like perform better answering economics questions. So there's the kind of knowledge that the model has from its training data, as was one aspect, and the other aspect is how good is the agent at. So if to be able to answer that question, you need to have knowledge that's not in the training data set, which is what we find in a lot of cases, because it might be asking about current affairs or like an upcoming sporting event where you really care, like the Wimbledon final. You really care about how the players are performing in the earlier rounds in the tournament. So your agent has to be very good at web scraping and being able to kind of access high quality information online and to be able to synthesize that information well. So there's like kind of lots of degrees of freedom there for people to design different agents or agents that that can perform better than others. So there's lots of scope for differentiation between agents.
Got it. So there's actually a huge incentive for someone to make a very competitive bot to compete in prediction markets, because if they do, then obviously there's a ton of upside there potentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's you have to do the kind of work up front to build the agent, but once it's competitive relative to other agents on the market, then kind of the deploying it and having it run per market is is relatively cheap.
I got one more question. Or sorry, go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, in terms of kind of upside or opportunity for upside that's already there. There's because we're kind of in the kind of testing phase in Omen, or the kind of scaling phase where we're still kind of artificially pumping the platform with markets to be able to run our agents against. There is kind of already opportunity there for um, essentially there's lots of free or nearly free money to be had by building a high quality agent. But then obviously over time you have the bar for what makes a profitable agent will be higher and higher, and until you're getting kind of like human like expert forecaster kind of quality predictions, and that's the kind of direction we're heading in.
Do you think the endpoint is that agents will be very consumer facing, and that basically everyone will have a kind of personal assistant or a set of assistants?
Yeah, sure. I guess this is more of a more of a high level question of where's is our finger on the pulse. I suppose my personal opinion is that I guess, or what we're interested in, I guess, is quite different to this idea of like a consumer facing agent. I guess that what that agent would look like would be very very different to the kind of thing we're building, where it would like plug into your email and your calendar, and I don't know, it would be like it would understand your preferences and trawl the news to give you content that you're interested in, or that kind of thing. But the kind of, I guess, the tool set that we're working with is the same in terms of for building an agent for that use case versus building an agent for prediction markets. And I suppose what's kind of stopping that, or like what's kind of in the way of that being a reality now, is that I suppose a lot of the time is there's only kind of so much autonomy with the kind of quality of models that we have at the moment. There's only kind of so much autonomy that an agent can have before it kind of, when you leave it to run for a long time, it kind of goes off the rails. And I think in that kind of use case that you're describing, where you have this personal assistant, there's so many degrees of freedom that opportunity to go off the rails is a lot higher. Whereas in prediction markets, you're in a kind of, you have a set of constraints that, you have a set of rails that your agent that only has so many actions that it can take, which I think makes it an easier problem to solve. But there is what you're kind of describing of like this general purpose agent is, there is a kind of benchmark now on there's like a Hugging Face leaderboard, just going back through the slides. Yeah, this one here. So Gaia benchmark that some AI researchers have come up with, where there's like a. Oh, sorry, I've given you a dud link. Or I think Hugging Face have changed the URL maybe. But
Yeah, sorry.
So there's a leaderboard now with, so there's like a data set of quite complex, like multi-stage tasks which involve like web surfing, image recognition, and like problem solving that that really are kind of only gaining traction now, where people are like through building out kind of generalist agents from these agent libraries. We're kind of getting closer to that stage where you can have much more capable general purpose agents.
And so they're like, the capability of the agent is measured over time. Like, does it have like a Sharp ratio that shows how successful that bot is over time with its the task or scope that it's been assigned?
So this is like a a single like a zip file with the questions in which you can like run your agent against in a single go. So it's not like a performance over time metric. It's just like, here are these tasks. There's like a well-defined answer, but you have to be able to do quite like you have to be able to take many steps from the kind of question from the initial goal to be able to reach that answer. So it's like something that's quite easy to benchmark against, but the problems themselves have proved quite hard to solve just by the like, I guess, taking ChatGPT with extensions. I think that was like one of the earliest examples that which ran with these ran on this benchmark, and it was able to solve, like, on the kind of hardest set of tasks, it could like solve 3% of the problems or something like that. And now the state of the art is better, but there's still like a lot of scope for improvement. So like, once you see these benchmarks up to kind of 95% on the hardest tests, then you know that they were kind of able to build these like general purpose, like what you're talking about, where you have a personal assistant, that kind of application.
Yeah, super interesting, and it's an incredible design space. I feel like I understand maybe less than 1% of the of how it all fits together and works, but you know, it's certainly worth trying to understand and engage with.
You must be one of one of very few people that doesn't claim that they know lots about AI these days. So very modest of you, I'm sure.
Well, Peter and Evan, thank you so much for making the time. If there aren't any other questions, then we'll call it here. But are there any like links that you want to share with us, or any upcoming events, or anything else you'd like to promote?
Um,
Yeah, I
Go
can
ahead.
share this. I shared the link for the AI Omen on Discord, so you can go there, and perhaps I can also quickly show it here. So if you go to that link, you will get many markets that are currently created by agents and answered by agents as well. And so if you feel like it, you can go there and either answer them manually, or in the tooling on GitHub that Ivan talked about. We also have a set of tools to create these markets and answer them from Python. So if you are feeling like creating your own agent, then go for it. It will be cool to have more of them there.
Awesome. And we actually have a question from MC1R. Are the agents deployed on local compute or on the Omen platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there are two kinds of deployments. First, to answer that Omen platform is only the prediction market platform. So this Omen website that you see is not meant for agent deployment, only for answering the markets and creating them and taking care of resolving and all of this. And then for the deployments, we have two ways to do it. First, when you want to just quickly deploy something and to run in a loop to kind of monitor it and have a quick feedback, then part of the tooling is deployment to the Google Cloud. So that's super easy, just a few clicks and it's running in the Google Cloud. And then for the agents that we have more trust in, and they are more tested, that they are deployed on the Autonomous platform. So the OLAS ecosystem that I think was part of this presentation some time ago.
Yeah, David was here for the first AI call and did a whole presentation about Autonomous. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, I just want to finish. The ultimate goal is to run them on OLAS.
I shared the the AI Omen link there in the chat. If you'd like to take a further look, check that out. And yeah, thank you everyone for making the time, and especially big thanks to Peter and Evan for such a great presentation. We've recorded this, so we'll put it up on YouTube, and we'll see you next month for the next installment of the Gnosis AI call. That typically happens in the first week of each month on a Wednesday at 4 p.m. UTC, right here on the Gnosis Chain Discord. So we'll see you next time. And like always, we'll see you on chain. And thanks a lot. Have a great week, everyone. See you later.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye bye.